Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. And before getting into points and miles, what did you do before you opened your YouTube channel? We're going to get a little bit into why you started a YouTube channel on points and miles. But before you even did that, what did you do?
So I came here originally to work at a Chinese American TV station called New Tang Dynasty TV.
Okay.
And this is a TV station that broadcasts uncensored news to China, because that was my degree, was in modern and classical Chinese. So as soon as I graduated, I came and worked at this TV station. And this TV station, it was started by members of the Falun Gong, which is a persecuted group in China. The communist government in China has been putting them in labor camps and stuff. It's like a Buddhist meditation group.
Oh, wow.
And so they started this TV channel to broadcast, uncensored news back to China, basically about like human rights and all sorts of stuff that the Chinese government doesn't want people to hear about.
Sure.
So I worked there.
Wow.
And it was a great place to work. Like I learned a lot, and I, it was a job. They paid me, but it wasn't big bucks. You're working at a nonprofit, a human rights nonprofit. So, but yeah, it was that was basically why I came to the US in the first place.
And then it sounds like after doing that, you started following the Points Guy, which was truly an original in his space. I think he's out of New York. Now there's so many of those sites, Thrifty Traveler and so forth. But the Points Guy, definitely, I've actually had some interactions with him in the past. He's a nice guy. But you loved what he was doing, and then you decided, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel talking about all these, because the Points Guy really was not on YouTube. He's all blog based.
So yeah, when I started, there was literally no one doing it on YouTube. I think a guy called Beat the Bush, a guy in San Francisco, he did one video called What's in My Wallet? And I think that was the only credit card video that was out there on YouTube at the time. And so I started doing it, and Ask Sebi started like a couple of weeks later. So he's like my rival. No, I'm just kidding. He's the other big, credit card channel on YouTube. So it was, for a long time, it was just me and him sort of head to head. And now there's loads of channels. There's like 20 or 30 different channels. But yeah, when I started, I was the only guy, and then he joined, and me and him were the only guys doing it for like at least probably a year or so.
Wow. And Ask Sebi, I think you're friends with him too, correct? It's not like you're bitter rivals that are.
No, I'm friends with him. I mean, we actually did some collabs in the early days. We had a little bit of a falling out at one time, but we kind of made up about it. So it's all good. But yeah.
I see. So there is YouTube drama.
There's a little bit of rivalry between us, yeah, because like in the early days, we didn't really understand how the industry worked so well. So we kind of like were stealing a little bit of ideas from each other, and we sometimes would overstep the mark a little bit. We kind of fell out for a little bit, but then we made up, and now we're much more experienced in sort of the YouTube etiquette,
It's interesting. I think about YouTube, and I don't have the biggest channel or anything like that. I've been doing it for a few years. We talked about it before, and I can't focus just on credit cards. It's not my thing, but with YouTube, it's like there is really no competition. It's like collaboration, it seems like, is the way to just gain more followers. If you could hate each other, you're just not gaining each other's viewers, so to speak.
Yeah, you can. I mean, some people also will be subscribed to two different channels on the same thing, and they'll watch videos on both, even on the same topic, because they want different perspectives on something. But yeah, in addition to getting an audience that's already there, you can sort of create an audience on YouTube as well. So like there was no credit card audience when I first started. We created it. So yeah.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Let's get into credit cards. Let's talk a little bit about credit cards. I've done a lot of credit card videos, and those get more views for me than some of the other videos I've done. I guess I got put in that little category of credit card videos. I made other videos like a California Exodus, which had several 100,000 views and so forth. But let's talk about credit cards. Are you an Amex guy, a Chase guy, all around?
Principally, I use Amex and Chase. Those are my two systems that I heavily use. I've got like one Capital One card, but it's a cashback card that I never really use. So yeah, I've never actually got any Citi cards. I've got one Barclays card. That's the Wyndham business card, and that's just because it gets me the Caesars Palace Diamond status, so I can status match a few others from that as well. So That's really the only reason I have that. But the ones I generally redeem points for, I got like 75,000 Wyndham points actually in my account that I've totally forgotten about. I could probably go on a trip. But yeah, the ones that I actually redeem points for generally would be Amex and Chase.
Mm-hmm. And when you go into your wallet, and you mentioned what's in my wallet video, when you go into your wallet, what do you pull out first? Is it an Amex or is it a Chase, or does it depend on where you are?
That really depends on where I am. Yeah. So, I mean, let's have a look. I can get it out now. Let's check it out. So right now I've got like a couple of Chase Freedoms. I've got an Amex Platinum and an Amex Business Platinum. I've got an Amex Gold. I've got a Chase Ink Preferred, and I've got a Chase Ink Unlimited.
Oh,
so
wow.
It really depends whether it's a business purchase or a personal purchase, whether I'm going to use a business card or a personal card. And then it depends, like for the Freedom card, there are rotating quarterly categories. So last quarter it was gas. So I was using that card for gas the whole time. Otherwise I use the Wyndham Business Earner card because that's 8 points per dollar on gas. And then Amex Gold is really like my daily driver card because it's dining and supermarkets. Those are probably my two biggest spending categories.
For the Amex Gold.
Yeah. So and that's 4 points per dollar on those two categories on the Amex.
Wasn't it 5 before? 5 points?
It was 5. It was never 5 points, but you might be thinking of cashback. Like if you had the Charles Schwab Platinum and you could redeem for 1.25 cents per point, so you could use the Amex Gold and get 5% cashback. But they lowered that down to 1.1 cents. So if you want cashback, if you want to get Amex Gold points and then use them through the Schwab Platinum, you can get 4.4% cashback.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Is that unlimited?
It's the restaurants is unlimited, and the supermarkets is limited to $25,000 a year, which I think is enough for most people.
As someone that has an Amex Platinum, I have a business Platinum as well, and then I've had a business Gold as well, and then the Centurion card as well for personal. I find that sometimes using the Centurion is not as beneficial as some of the other points programs just from the Platinum and even the Gold. It's pretty incredible. You would think that Amex, with the fees that they add, would just allow the Centurion members to collect the best amount of points for that premium.
The Centurion, it's kind of like similar to the difference between the Gold and the Platinum. Like people collect points on the Gold, and the Platinum is a benefits card. You don't really buy much with it. You buy air tickets with it because it's 5x on air travel, but otherwise you're just using it for the lounge access, the fine hotels and resorts collection. And I think the Centurion is similar. It's more about the benefits you get with it. And Amex also probably thinks that people who are wealthy enough to have the Centurion don't really care about them.
They're not worrying about it. They're not worrying about which card to use for gas that week.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you worry about do you want the points or do you not care?
So I do collect points a lot. I mean, I probably have about 2 million points or miles right now just sitting there. I haven't used it. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't used it. I've used it a few times traveling recently, but it's been more mainly to Florida. I haven't traveled internationally in the last couple of years with everything that was going on. But I do love the points. And I've had a company that would also help utilize these points for people that are traveling, but wanted to find like the saver deal. For example, Ben has 1 million miles, but he doesn't want to spend 45 minutes or an hour or two searching for the best possible deal from one airport to another, right? So I had a company that would specialize in, instead of you leaving, say, San Francisco airport, we would fly you to Los Angeles, and from Los Angeles, we would fly you to London using your points, which would give you a saver discount potentially, or from one of the other better airports. So I do understand that concept, and I love the point system. I tend to be more heavy on Amex than Chase, although I did have the JP Morgan Reserve card, which really, in my opinion, matched Amex's pizzazz and the concierge that you would get the attention. I did like the heft of the JP Morgan Reserve, or it used to be called the Palladium card, which as well.
It's heavy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's heavy. Oh yeah, it was 28 grams. I did a weight test on my channel, and I loved it. And the thing with Amex is, I don't know if you know this, but the Centurion card used to be There used to be a heavier card. And then some people, for whatever reason, complained about that. So they also came out with a plastic Centurion card. And yeah, and they had a plastic version of the Centurion card for those people that didn't want their wallet to be heavier. And then they kind of 86'd it or got rid of the plastic version of that card for travel and slimmed down their Centurion card to like about 12 or 13 grams, which I would like to see it a little heavier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because now it's the same construction as the Amex Platinum, basically.
Yeah,
But the old one used to be made of titanium.
correct.
And yeah, we did a test where because there was this story about this Canadian millionaire, and he had his card in his pocket, his Centurion, and he got shot, and and he survived, right? And people were automatically assuming it's because of his metal credit card, right? Because there was a bullet hole in it. I don't think it did anything, but there was maybe it like slightly changed the trajectory of the bullet, so it missed his heart. Anyway, we did a test where we shot up some titanium. A friend of mine from Taiwan who has the Centurion, he had the old titanium version. He canceled it and then gave it to me, right? And yeah, we tested it, and
it didn't work too well. That's not a bad idea. I should probably get a couple guns out and destroy my old cards and get a million views. But all right, let's stick to continue with the credit. What would you say right now for the average viewer of your channel, my channel, etc., is a go-to credit card they should get right at, say, this moment? Maybe they're starting out in the credit game like you were once and I was.
Well, for starting out, right now, Capital One has become stronger and stronger. Starting out, actually, no, I wouldn't recommend Capital One for starting out. I would say the Discover It card is a great card to start out with, because Discover, they target people who have lower credit scores, or we call thin files. So not a low score because you trash your credit through bad, habits, mispayments, but a low credit score just because there's no information on you. And the Discover It card, it earns 5%